Good afternoon, everyone who's joining in. If you could just make sure you keep yourselves on mute for the process. We're going to give it a couple more minutes until see if anyone else needs to join in. All right. Waiting room's kind of been a little quiet, so we can go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. I'm Miss Hill. I'm the Director of College Placement and Academic Services here at Fort Union Military Academy. You're probably familiar with me if your son's last name falls in the alphabet of A through K. I'm his academic advisor and college counselor. If your son's last name is L through Z, you and he probably work very closely with Dr. Benson. Today, I am happy to provide this opportunity, and the session is being recorded, so we can send the link out later in case anyone missed it or you would like to come back for a recap to sit with Miss Monica Matthews. If you had an opportunity, she has a wealth of knowledge on how to kind of start the scholarship find and how to make sure you are making yourself a very shining star within that scholarship opportunity. So what we will do today is, if you could just all keep yourselves muted, I will be using the questions that you guys put in the Microsoft form of interest. And we're going to spin off of those, make sure we answer those, give you information. The last 15 minutes or so, we'll open it up to questions in the chat. So if you have any questions, you can do that. I will be putting the website address in the chat for everyone in case you want to go and click on it, look at the information. It is also in Monica's name description. But without further ado, I will hand it over. Ms. Matthews, if you want to introduce yourself, give a little background.
Yeah, hi. So hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, Miss Hill. Can you hear me?
Yep, that's better. Good job.
Okay, all right. I just have to get closer to my computer. So you guys are gonna get a close up of me. Okay, so how did I start? Well, I love sharing the story because it's not how I didn't go to school to become a scholarship person. I actually went to school to become a teacher. I was an elementary school teacher. And then my oldest, you got to kind of jump back in time. My oldest son graduated from high school in 2009, which I know is a long time ago. But he was right before his senior year. He was a junior, like many of you. And he started looking at colleges, and he was looking at MIT in Boston. And it cost $60,000 a year back then. I'm sure it's a lot more now. And I graduated from college in 1989. And so I did not know college, and just the amount of money that has changed that people have to pay for college had gone up so much. So being the good mom that I am, I said, well, son, you're smart, whatever, apply for scholarships. I'm sure, we'll get some help, and we'll get some help from the government and whatever. I was so wrong. So he applied for a few early deadline scholarships, and he didn't win, like right away, some early ones. And I'm like, wait a minute, there must be something we're doing wrong. And so because I love research, I literally dedicated myself during his senior year to researching what do scholarship judges look for, how to write a good scholarship essay, a strong scholarship essay that stands out to the judges, this and that. And so, but then we kept, and then we developed this partnership. I would find the scholarships, he would write the essays. I would send him reminders for the due dates, and he would, click submit or whatever. It was a partnership. So fast forward to around this time of his senior year, early spring, and he started winning and winning and winning. And by the time he graduated, we had enough to pay for his first year of college. He didn't end up at MIT. He actually went to the University of Michigan, but I mean, that's still a pretty high school, you know, great school.
Mhm.
And so my friend said to me, you need to write down what you did because we don't know what we're doing. We feel like we don't have enough guidance, whatever. You should write it down and help other parents. So that's how I got started. I wrote an ebook, and yes, they are ebooks. I now have one for parents and for students because
Mhm.
students are like, but my parents not going to help me. I need one. So I have one for students also. And they are ebooks so I can update them frequently. And people say, I want a physical book. And I understand. See, that's what you can do. Thank you. I do it for myself. You know, take it to Staples. They can print it on both sides. They can bind it for you. It doesn't cost that much. But the beauty of an ebook is I can update it frequently without having to update a whole entire book and republishing. I just did a big update for 2023. So you guys are coming in at a perfect time. So just super quick. Now, since then, I have 3 boys. All 3 have graduated from high school with tons of scholarships, no parent loans for my husband and I, even though we don't qualify for government assistance. Anyways, no parent loans. My youngest, my baby, is a senior in college right now. He will actually graduate in December. He needed an extra semester. Anyway, so that's how I got started, and that's where I'm at. And that's kind of my background, just so you know where I'm coming from here.
Yes, and I know we do have some parents who also feel the unfortunate of not qualifying for federal. So that really does help, you know, a lot of our parents have mentioned that, you know, and I know a lot of my friends' parents, a lot of my friends who have seniors will say, how does the government think I'm going to be able to pay this much money a year? Like, where are they getting that number from? So if you guys have questions, you can throw them into the chat. I'm monitoring the chat. You can send them just to me if you need. Know that you guys are along the ride. If you do have any additional questions for Miss Matthews throughout howtowinscholarships.com, you can go on and there is a section for contacting her. And I will tell you, she is absolutely phenomenal in communication and response. It's just wonderful. All right, so let's kick this off in answering some of the questions. And I think one of the major questions, and you touched on this in your introduction, is what should the parents' role in the scholarship be? And here it's a little unique because unless they're a day student, they don't have access to their parents, immediate access to their parents.
Right, right. So I love this question because this is really kind of like the heart of the success with my own boys and how I've helped so many families now. I have a giant Facebook group, and I can talk about that later if parents want to join that. You know, there's like 40,000 people in it where you can ask questions and I'm there to answer. But anyways, parents can partner with their students. And just because you're not living there with your student, you know, communication is amazing now. You know, you can text them reminders for scholarship deadlines. You can still help proofread their essays because they can just electronically send them to you, that sort of thing. How can parents partner? You know, just by telling your kids, we're going to do this together. I mean, don't be like me. Don't be like, hey, go try to win scholarships, because it really doesn't work. You know, I kind of liken it to, when you're teaching your kids how to drive, would you just hand them the keys and said, okay, you can say, go drive? You don't do that. You sit in the car, and before you start, you talk about, you know, this is what you do to start the car. This is what you do to accelerate and to brake. And you go through what is needed first. You guys can do that no matter where. I mean, I'm sure you do talk sometimes, right? I mean, maybe in the evenings, weekends, right? I mean, there's communication, even if it's email. So parents can do so many things, but they can also relieve. This is a huge burden of pressure on kids to not only get into their colleges, but to figure out, you know, can we pay for it? Are we, you know, and we're going to be able to do this. So if kids know that you are with them in this process, they're going to be more apt to try to apply for scholarships because they know mom or dad can help me. You know, they're going to send me a list of scholarships that I qualify for. They're going to proofread my essays, that sort of thing. So that's how parents can partner. And I have so many other ways. And you know, like like Ms. Hill mentioned, I do have the ebooks and it walks you through the entire process. And I'm always there, by phone, email, whatever, or like I mentioned, my group. So, but do it together. It really does work.
Yes, and I know some, in the senior year, for terms 1 and 2, all seniors are required to participate in senior seminar, and it is held Monday and Wednesdays. It's 45 minutes. And in those 45 minutes, we are A through K comes with me, L through Z goes with Dr. Benson. And we are checking in with the kids, making sure where they are with their college applications, where they are with their letters of recommendation, and with, if we can help with scholarships. I know we also open up our rooms on Tuesdays and Thursdays, even though senior seminar is not a requirement to attend on those days. If they wanted to come for extra help on those opportunities, if they are available, they're allowed to come in. We make sure we have that open door. And I know it's very overwhelming. The kids are in the college search process, trying to figure out what, all of a sudden for the last 18 years, they've been told, this is where you're going. These are the classes that you have to take to graduate. Now, all of a sudden they get to make that choice. And so there's a lot that goes with it, and it can be very overwhelming and very scary for some students. That's for sure. So where do you start?
Okay, first, I just want to say start now. Like, start now wherever you're at. I mean, if your students are seniors and you're like, well, it's too late, it's not too late. There are so many scholarships with upcoming deadlines. The spring is, they used to say there's a scholarship season. There really isn't a scholarship season. They are available year round. It's a myth that you wait till the spring of senior year. And if you wait, you're going to miss so many deadlines. And the early scholarships, the summer ones, the fall ones, have less applicants. So that's another tip right there. You start now, you start early, even if you're a junior, and you're going to have less competition. So your chances of winning automatically go up. So start right now where you're at, start local. Now I know for you guys, this is going to be tricky and different, but a lot of the same rules apply. It's kind of like, when my son in college right now, his home address on his driver's license, it's still my address, our house, but he doesn't live with us. He lives in an apartment by his college. So a lot of local scholarships, they're going to be open to students who live in your area, It doesn't mean you have to live there year round because you're away at school. You need to read the fine print on these because you never know. So the first thing you need to do is go to all the area high school websites, the websites in your area, in your county, in your town, in your surrounding towns. Look at their lists of scholarships, read the fine print, because a lot of them will say, this is for students who live in this county or who live in this town. It does not say they have to attend this high school. Sometimes they do. So that's where, you have to do a little extra digging, but you probably will be amazed. Credit unions, if your student isn't a member of a credit union locally now, sign them up, put the $10 in their account that they need to sign, to be a member. And then when they're ready, when that scholarship opens up next spring, they can apply for that scholarship. Banks, credit unions, your employer, there's so many restaurants. Burger King offers a scholarship. There's so many different ways to find scholarships that are local, but always start with your local high schools. A lot of them will have lists on their websites and just kind of branch off from there. After local, then you go to state. Go to your state website where you live and see if there are scholarships open to students in that state, okay, in their home state. Same with college websites. You might think, I might go to this college, so I'm going to go see what they have for scholarships. Well, a lot of colleges have scholarships for just any students because they want their incoming students to win scholarships and to pay for school. But a lot of times they just list scholarships that any student can apply for. A lot of times they have to maybe live in that state or whatever. Like I said, always read the fine print and the details, but local scholarships should always be your number one, and start right now. Even if you have a high school freshman at home, say, I know you might have a junior or senior now, but you have a brother or sister, or you have a student that's younger, there are scholarships open for freshmen. There's this dad in my Facebook group, his name's Rob. He's always sending me pictures of his daughters, and they were so young in the beginning. They were like elementary, middle school, holding these checks up, $100, $200. He got on the scholarship bandwagon super early. He uses my strategies, and his kids applied for scholarships in elementary school because they are out there. So start right now. Don't panic if you haven't done anything yet. Start right now where you're at and move forward from here.
Yes. And so with us, even though Fork Union Military Academy is local for some people, local would be like going to Fluvanna, going to Fluvanna High School's webpage, going to Louisa County's webpage, going to Charlottesville High School's webpage, Albemarle's webpage, if you're around Fork Union Military Academy. If you're not around Fork Union, then think of what high schools are around you. Go and see. A lot of local businesses will have scholarships set up. There will be people, we have scholarships set up specific for Fork Union that students can apply to, but we don't have the post high school the way that the local community might have with the community banks, even big companies like Amazon. I know UPS, if you work with UPS or have someone who works with UPS, they have a huge one. So it does require a lot of investigative work, a lot of search tools, but fortunately we have Google today to help with that.
It is definitely much easier than it was when I first started with my son. I think 2008. I mean, yes, we have the internet. You had the internet, but I think I still had AOL and we were dialing up. So it's so much better now.
The dial-up internet.
Yeah. Yes. And I live out in the country, so it was even worse. So, yeah.
Now, outside of local scholarships, is there anywhere that you recommend trying to search? I know Big Future has really revamped their scholarships now to where you can go in and do a scholarship search. And you had said, make sure you read the fine print. So is a scholarship a one size fits all, or are there going to be criteria, credentials that will vary from scholarship to scholarship? I think that would be some interesting information.
Yeah, right. They're all so very different. And what works for one will not work for another scholarship. And so you just kind of have to get used to zeroing in on the certain things that, does my student qualify? What does it need? Does it need an essay? Here's a tip. There are 3 scholarship essays that you're going to see over and over. So students, don't be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to apply for 100 scholarships. I have to write 100 essays. That's totally not true. There are 3 that you see over and over. Let me just, I'll tell you right now. What are your educational goals? How have you helped in your community? And why should we award you this scholarship? But it just varies. Or why do you deserve this scholarship? They vary. But you can use those same essays, tweaking a little bit for each scholarship you apply for so many scholarships, so many. And it's such a great tip. And people don't realize that. Students think, how am I going to write that many essays? I'm in high school. I'm a senior. I'm so busy. And I get it. Kids are so busy. And my kids were busy too. They had jobs, they did sports, they were in clubs. So use those same 3 essays. And then we're talking about where to find them. There's some great scholarship databases, and I have a list in my ebooks. Don't sign up for all of them. Be careful, because I know you'd be all excited. You're like, oh, I'm going to find so many. You will be overwhelmed. Definitely open an email address used just for scholarships. Don't use your school email address right now. I don't know about your school, but a lot of them will close 6 months after your kids have graduated. They can't use that email address anymore, the high school. Open one just for scholarships in college. Put first name, last name at whatever.com, Yahoo, Gmail, whatever's free. If it's taken, put a number or a date, whatever. Some kids like to put their graduation year, so 2023, 2024. That way, because you are going to get lots of emails, you're going to get some spam emails when you sign up. But I would pick 2 or 3. Fastweb.com is a good one, but be careful. And you have to update your profile every year. You want to make sure your profile is complete every year. This year, you're a junior. Next year, you'll be a senior. So you need to update these so they can send you the scholarships that they think that you are matched with. So definitely sign up for the online scholarship databases. I go through every month and I send out a list of scholarships, pretty much open to everybody. Not many. Some of them do have financial needs. Some of them are for certain, like say engineering. But most of them, because I had to do this for my son, most of them are open to any families, doesn't matter the income. So on my website, I have a link to sign up. That's totally free. The May, I always do it a month in advance. The May list is coming out on April 1st, so you have lots of lead time. So that's free on my website. So I am a good resource for scholarships, because a lot of times you'll go to these lists and you're like, what is this? It's a whole bunch of spam, and is this a real scholarship? And all these no essay scholarships. And, you know, I do have some of those. 2 of my boys won no essay scholarships. So it's another reason to have that scholarship email, so you can filter out some of the things that you just don't need and you don't want mixed up with important emails. So did I answer the question?
Yes, I think so.
I could talk about this forever.
Are there any indicators, because you had said some of it might be spam? I had an unfortunate accident a couple of years ago. I'd walked into the local CVS, and there was a gentleman who was told that as long as he bought 2 iTunes gift cards for $250 a piece and sent them, he would get a $10,000 government grant. It broke my heart to have to tell him that grants and scholarships don't require you to pay money. Excuse me. So are there any red flag indicators in those emails, just to be aware of when you're receiving them?
Right. Definitely, you'll never pay to apply for a scholarship. You'll never pay. Don't ever pay to apply for a scholarship. No, unless it's a postage. If it's a mailed in one, of course, you're going to go to the post office, have it weighed, might cost you $1.50. Don't pay. I had a parent email me just last week, and her daughter won one of the no essay scholarships, and it was from a bank, and I was familiar with it because it was a student loan provider. And she said, my daughter says she won, but they want her bank number, her account number. And oh my gosh, should we give it to her? And I'm like, absolutely not. And so I said, what's the scholarship? She gave me the link. I looked into it for her. And in the guidelines, super tiny, it says, we will direct deposit into your account, or let us know if you would like a check mailed to you. And so I said, here it is, quote it to them, have your daughter tell them that. And she gets back to me like 2 days later. They said, that's fine, they're mailing a check. That probably wasn't a scam, but I would never, don't ever give out bank information. Don't ever give out social security numbers. You know, you're not applying for a loan, you're applying for a scholarship. They might need something later for tax purposes. So if your student has won, if you've already seen the money, you might have to give out a social security number later. But for applying, don't even worry about it, and don't do it. So there definitely are red flags. I mean, there's so many. I have a whole section in my ebooks. I mean, if there's a bunch of typos on the web, on, you know, the scholarship application, it's probably not worth your time. It might just be, they're just trying to get people to their website. They might not even give out the money. If they don't talk about previous winners, that sort of thing. There's definitely red flags to be familiar with scholarships.
Yes. And usually when it's free money, what I've told, when it's other people's money in scholarships, it really is, you know, almost a hunt and search, and you got to find it. They don't make it easy because they are giving you free money. So you got to do a lot of legwork in order to get it. So in talking about looking for those scholarships, I did put fastweb.com, that link in the chat for everyone. And if you are just joining us, thank you for coming. Thank you for participating. We have Miss Matthews here. She's answering questions about scholarships, when you should start. And we answered that one a little bit earlier. You can start at any time. She has a website. It's on her information next to her name. I also had included it in the chat if you want to click on that and go and look. She has 2 ebooks she's referenced several times. I will say I've already paid for the student and for the parent one to gain some more background for me to try to help as much as I can for the cadets that we have here at Fork Union. And now, when you're looking at doing the scholarships, as we have talked about, there's a lot of credentials. So a lot of scholarships will require an essay. How important is that essay? And what are any tricks of the trade in order to make that essay stand out and be one of the top contenders?
Right. I love this question because the essay is so important. The essay is like the heart of the scholarship application. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you now.
Can you hear me okay? It's the heart. So keep that in mind. And also, students, keep in mind There are 3 main prompts that you can use over and over. So don't freak out thinking you have to write so many essays. The essay is how the judges get to know you. They already know your name because it's on the application. They might know your GPA, where you go to school, but they don't know what you think, what you feel, what you've done, how you've helped people, how it's changed your life, what lesson you learned. There's so many things students can share in the essays that they don't have a chance to share just on the application. So it's so important. And there's so many things not to do. Like, okay, I have a scholarship. It's called the Savor Summer College Scholarship. It's $500. I offer it every year. 95% of students start the essay with the exact same sentence. And what it is, they spit back the prompt. So my question is a little different. It's how will you use your summer vacation? But they always start with, for my summer vacation, I will. Don't do that. Start, and I do a lot of essay reviews too. They all do that. You need to be different. Start with what I call a hook. Hook them in. Start with something interesting. And I'm not talking about a quote, because a quote, it's kind of an old school, whatever. It's a quote is somebody else. That's quoting, even though if you believe them and you align with what that quote is about, it's not you. So if you want to quote something, quote it later in the essay, not the first sentence. Draw them in, even if it's something quirky. I know for my youngest son, he's a computer science engineering major, and he had this essay, and it started with, let's jump back in time. No, let's jump ahead in time. And he did 20 years. So 2040, whatever, 2040, I think it was. And then he would talk about what the world would be like, how technology would have changed. And, like, how will we communicate? Will our phone be in our pocket? Will we even need to have our phone in our pocket? It just was so different. And I'm like, you're right, it's going to change. And so that was different. He didn't start it off with, for my career as a computer science, whatever, he didn't spit back the prompt. So that's a super important hook. It's called the hook. You start with the hook. There's things you could do. Say you write your essay and you want to have mom or dad or somebody else review your essay. Give them the essay, but don't give them the prompt. Just have them read your answer, okay? Watch their face. If you guys are not in the same room, do a FaceTime. Technology, use it. See if they look bored. See if they laugh, they smile. See if their eyebrows are raised. See if they look confused. Because that's what the judges are going to be doing when they're reading your essay. You want a response. You want some kind of emotion. And then at the end you say, okay, what was the question that was asked, that I tried to answer? And if they could tell you the prompt, the exact question, okay, number one, you're on the right track. You've answered the question. But if they were really bored while they were reading, you've answered it, but not in a very good way. So it's just little things like that that help with the scholarship essay to make it better, to make it stronger, hook them in, make it interesting, add a creative title. Why not? Yeah. Start it off of the title at the top. Make sure you're following word count. That's important. And they can be like, oh, I wonder what this essay is going to be about. So those are just, the essay is super important. Don't skip scholarships with essays. If you're not a strong writer, there are videos you could make. There are other ways. A lot of scholarships now have a video option. Write an essay or send us a 2-minute video, and it's the same question.
Yeah, and we have the lab over in the technology where they can make an appointment to Skype, or if they need to do a recording, that's the things that we work on during senior seminar with them. Can you reuse the essays?
You can. Tweak them a little bit. Don't. I actually found a scholarship yesterday, and it said you were not allowed to use the essay that's been submitted for another scholarship. I had never seen that before. You need to tweak it a little bit. Start it off a little bit different, end it a little bit different. But yes, reuse them, recycle them, repurpose them.
Yes, and it does help if there is a specific scholarship that cadets looking into, to research that company. It's really beneficial. As I tell the cadets, look for those like key trigger words for the company. Is a trigger word, collaborative or teamwork or igniting human potential, or what are those, and try to factor those into the scholarship. Not give them a background of the information or, you know, of the scholarship, because they already know that. The essay is to tell them about you, because this is very similar to the college personal essay, in the sense that your essay is the only part that is allowing them to see who you really are, outside of your SAT scores or your address or your grades or anything like that. This is where you get to have a conversation, a one-sided conversation with whoever's reading your essay, in order for them to get to know a little bit more about you.
Right. Yeah. And
yeah.
make sure you use the mission statement. If you're not sure, well, how do I find out? Go to the About Us or the mission statement on their website, read through it, find something that you're like, oh yeah, me too. Like, I really believe that too. Bring it in. It's kind of subliminal, but if the student truly believes it and is acting that, you know, in their life, their daily life, why not?
Yes,
Right?
the mission statement's huge, yeah. And what you're looking for. And even when you're looking to apply to a college, you know, they have a specific mission, and they have, you know, students that they're looking for, and a goal for them. Hampton-Sydney has theirs, UVA has theirs. And so try incorporating that slightly, not verbatim to the point where it's, you know, very blatant that you're doing it for that purpose, but incorporating them is really helpful to help give an extra boost, we'll say. All right, now, what are some common mistakes? We kind of talked about, you know, highlighting and how to make it best, but what are some of the common mistakes that might be made, whether they're searching for the essays, applying for the essays? What are things that you want to make sure you avoid doing?
Right. So a really big one is, don't assume you won't win. Don't say, oh, I won't win this one. I won't win this one. Read the details, find out if that's something that you can really have some knowledge about or learn about, and apply anyways. We talked about don't start by spitting back the prompt. That's important. Let's see what not to do. Don't type right into the box for the essay. Do it in a Word document or some Google Doc, whatever you want to do. Copy and paste it, because I've seen it a lot. Number one, you could get cut off, like the word count. It'll just disappear. Your internet connection could be cut off, and you've just lost all that work. So don't type right in. Have your answer ready and then copy and paste it. Here's a really big one. I see it all the time. You need to use paragraph breaks, because I see so many essays that are coming to me for my own scholarship and from parents who send me their students' essays, where it's one long giant paragraph. And honestly, it's really hard to read. It's hard to follow. You know, we process things in little chunks of information. So, you know, you learned about paragraphs probably in first grade. Just remember those things you learned, just regular writing, the rules. Use paragraph breaks. It's super important. I don't know why now I see it so much more. So definitely do that. End with a strong statement. Same thing with, you're going to start with the hook. You're going to end with something they can remember you by. Remember, that's the last thing they're going to read. So end with something interesting. Let's see. Use a title. The first 30-second look. Judges will, when they get your scholarship application packet, either physical through the mail, or they're looking at it online because you submitted it online, they're going to look for a few things right away to see if you qualify or you don't. Because some of these companies have hundreds or thousands of essays to read, scholarship applications to look through. They look for if you qualify. So if you're a junior right now and it's for high school seniors and above, they're just going to throw it away. Don't apply if you don't qualify. Don't leave any empty boxes. If there's things you forgot, whatever, and that's how parents can come in and help. Look, you forgot to add this, you forgot to put our CD, you forgot whatever. And if you're not sure what to put in one of those boxes, find something to put in one of those boxes. And I really go into that. There are little ways you can slip your information in an empty box on a scholarship application that you didn't think you had an answer to. You can't. Let's see. Paragraphs we talked about. There's just so many different things, just things that people assume about scholarships, that, you know, they just assume they aren't going to win. That's the biggest one. They assume my parents make too much money. Don't assume that. You don't know that. You don't know, unless it says, you know, $100,000 a year or more or less, whatever. Don't assume you might not win that scholarship, because there could only be 3 or 4 applicants. You don't know that. And if you think you have need financial need and there's no number stated and they do not ask for any sort of income proof or anything, apply for that scholarship. So that's a big mistake.
Yes, yes. And going off of that, if you don't qualify, are there scholarships available? Like you can apply to anyone. Are there scholarships available even if outside of federal? We had mentioned going to the school's website. That's a huge one because under the financial page, they will offer scholarships to the students. Do they need to be students in applying for those scholarships? We'll go with that one.
Oh, well, it depends. Are you talking about like, say you found a scholarship on a college website?
Yes, like if you're going to the college website, say I'm a senior, I'm applying, I haven't gotten word yet. I don't know if I am going to go there. Can I still apply for that scholarship?
Yeah, look for the dates they're due, but definitely apply for their scholarship. Yes, unless it says you must be accepted to apply for this scholarship. And that's another tip. Let me tell you, there are different kinds of admissions. There's early decision or admission decisions, early decision, early action. These sort of things. There's rolling admissions. Rolling admissions means kids can start applying as soon as they want to. As soon as they get their senior grades, they can start applying. I always advise people, and this is not in my ebook, I should add, my next update. Always apply to a school with rolling admissions, even if you don't think you're going to go there. The reason is a lot of scholarships are going to say, you must have been accepted to a college. And so what if the deadline is like November 15th? You haven't heard back from any of the schools yet. You don't know if you're accepted, but you applied to this one school for rolling admissions. You got in, you have that letter saying that you were accepted to a college. And who knows, maybe you'll fall in love with that school and go there. But rolling admissions, it's very important because one of the scholarships that my son won, and it almost killed me because he didn't go there. I really wanted him to go to the school, but that's all right. He won one of their big scholarships, but he had to apply for that scholarship, I think it was November 1st. And it was a rolling admissions school. He got in really early. He applied for the scholarship. He won the scholarship. He had to go, it was a 9-hour drive. We had to go do this scholarship competition thing. He won, but we never would have known about that if he hadn't applied so early. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's just smart to know the terms. And I do go into that. I have a whole bunch of resources in my ebooks, and you probably help your families with that. As far as like, when we do apply for college, all these different things, early decision, early action, rolling admission, so that's another tip. Did I answer the question?
Yes. And just to throw a side note in there, for the juniors right now that are getting ready to go into their senior year, the colleges will not open their applications for for the fall of 2025 until August 1st. There are some that might open them beforehand, but again, you're going to have to look at that school and see in that school to school basis. But most of the application process will not start until, excuse me, August 1st. So just keep that in mind. What if, and this is a big concern for a lot of students because COVID really negatively impact their GPA. What if they don't have a 4.0? Can you still find scholarships?
Yeah, absolutely. So 2 of my boys did not have a 4.0. They were 3.7, 3.6, whatever. One of my boys did. He was above 4.0, but 2 of my boys didn't, even with APs. They're smart, good students, but they just didn't have that giant GPA. So what we did was you have to look for scholarships that some of them don't even ask for your GPA. They don't want to know. Some of them are just submit this essay. So there are awards out there that don't ask for the specifics of the student. They don't need the transcripts. They don't need a grade list or classes they've taken or family income. There are scholarships for things like photography. You can submit a picture. That's your essay. The videos, like I said, kids are so good at making videos. You submit a video instead of writing out if they're not a strong writer. So you need to find the strengths of the student and then look for scholarships that will align with that student's strengths. And if the GPA, and a lot of them are 3.0 and above, some are 2.5 and above. They're so different. Don't assume that all straight A students are going to win scholarships. It's funny. I was just talking about this yesterday with my husband. Smartest kid in my son's class when he graduated, my youngest in 2019 from high school. his name was never called at our awards night. I'm like, why wasn't his name called? Like, until I asked my son later, because he was good friends with them. Like, why didn't he win a bunch of scholarships? He goes, Mom, he never even applied for it. I'm like, oh my gosh, my son's name was called 4 times. It was kind of embarrassing, but whatever. We did the work. He applied for the scholarships. So do the work, apply for the scholarships, start looking into it now. You high school juniors, get your letters of recommendation now before you're out for the summer. There are so many scholarships due in the summer. And I get these emails from kids like, what do I do? Like, I can't get a hold of my teachers. Like, well, you have to start early, get a letter or two, or you don't ask a teacher. Ask, your club president, or if you volunteer, ask for that organization's mentor or your leader. It does not always have to be teachers for letters of recommendation. That's another tip. Your pastor, whatever. Yeah.
It's really significant. We talk about that with the juniors, making sure, especially since the education world right now with teachers is just so volatile. You may have a teacher leave mid-summer, you may have a teacher decide 2 weeks before school starts that they're not going to come back. And then the seniors are like, well, wait, where'd this teacher go? I wanted them to write. So we have every other Friday an advisory session with the Corps of Cadets. We've addressed scholarships, how to look, the cost of tuition, making sure that conversation is being had with families, because college is, as we mentioned earlier, a lot more expensive now than it was back in my day. There's the phrase. But just making sure, that they're starting to research that. And we do tell them, talk to teachers now, get their contact information, even if they have a personal email outside of FUMA, if you need them to write a letter of recommendation, because we also tell them it takes a teacher anywhere from, to give a teacher courtesy of 3 to 4 weeks to write that letter of recommendation. Teachers aren't required to write the letters of recommendation. It's something that they do generously. And so making sure that you're giving them the information that they need and the time they need to get that is really important. So we do touch on that and make sure that they know and encourage them to take charge and be proactive before the end of their junior year.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And another reason is the teachers are going to have just a little bit more time at the end of the school year. In the beginning of the senior year, you might have 20 kids a day ask you, I need a letter. Well, what kind of letter are you going to get? It's going to be a little bit much better if you ask the teacher who doesn't have anybody asking them, or only has 1 or 2 to write versus 20 to write. So yeah, and there's all kinds of things you can do to get a better letter from your writer too.
Yes. So we're coming up to where we're almost at the last 15 minutes. Participants, if you guys have any questions, you can throw them up in the chat. Just make sure you're making it to everyone so I can see them and I can give those to Miss Matthews to answer. What are your top 3 scholarship tips, especially for parents? What is it that would be ideal for them? And I'll look to see if there are any questions that they add while you're talking.
Okay, good. And I'm glad you brought this up. The first one is file your FAFSA. File your FAFSA.
Hold on one second. It's catching up.
Okay now?
Yeah, there we go.
File the FAFSA. It doesn't matter what your income level is. Some scholarships will have a box on the application. Did you file the FAFSA? They just want to know you're doing everything you can. Some colleges won't give you any aid. I mean, there was some COVID money that my youngest son got, that because the school got it. Only the kids who had filed the FAFSA, no matter what their income level was, got that money. File your FAFSA, parents, please. It's not that hard. Things are changing for next year though, so make sure you're aware of the changes that are coming. Apply smart. This is what I tell, apply smart. What does that mean? Share personal details. That's the S, right? A story. M, market yourself. And you said something about being a shining star in the very beginning of this webinar. Yes, you are a shining star. So you need to learn how to market yourself so the judges know what kind of shining star and why you're so shiny. So I was so happy to hear you say that. A, answer the essay question. Answer it completely. So many kids go on tangents and they don't answer the question. R, review guidelines. Make sure that you really do qualify. Don't waste your time. Don't waste their time, the judge's time. T, trusted eyes. Have somebody else look at your work, even maybe 2 people before you submit it, because your eyes or your brain kind of fills in missing details. You may have a word spelled wrong, but you know what you're trying to say, and you didn't catch it. Somebody else will catch it. So apply smart. Okay, that's my second one. My third one is, start now. Start now, no matter where you're at. Don't feel like you're too late or too early. Start right now with scholarships, because they are out there and they will change your life, and they'll change your kids' lives. Just trust me. It's the people that I've helped, the emails I get, it's amazing. So those are my top 3 tips.
And those are awesome. And we tell the cadets, even with their personal essay, do not write your personal essay in 45 minutes, add it to your college application, and then submit. Like, you need to have someone look at that essay prior to submitting it. I know some colleges have gone as far as saying, if someone were to pick up the essay on the ground and your name wasn't on it, they should have an idea of who it should be given back to, of whose scholarship it is, or sorry, whose essay it is. So it sounds like from our conversation, just the scholarship essay and the personal essay that colleges are going to require align very closely with the expectation of the information that should be shared. So that's helpful, and kind of, having to work smarter and not harder.
Yes, work smarter. I love it. Yes.
And I know there are some states, Virginia is not one of them, but there are some states that do require students to fill the FAFSA out before they graduate. It's a graduation requirement. I know some of the seniors who've applied to colleges and have filled out the FAFSA have actually received scholarships for just filling out the FAFSA. Here's an additional $2,500 to taken off your tuition because you completed the FAFSA form. So parents, make sure tax season is right now, April 15th deadline. But make sure, you're keeping your tax information from the year before, just because that it will focus on that information when you're filling out the form. So it is helpful to make sure you know where those documents are now that you have them, because you have to get them out, putting them in a spot that you'll remember. For when it comes out. And the sooner you fill out the FAFSA form, the more money you will get. So the FAFSA opens on October 1st. And so the sooner you fill it out, the more money is there in the federal government that they can give to you. So some people wait and, stay up until midnight or whatnot of when it is opened and fill it out.
Yeah. The website crashes. I hear that all the time. And also, I just read that it's in December for, I don't believe next year, the following year. They're going to move it to December. And I don't know why they're moving the date. Don't quote me, but it's on the FAFSA.gov website that there is going to be a big change. But I don't believe would be for this group. I believe it'd be for the next group. And remember, you're using prior. So you're not using last year's tax information, you're using the year before.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's a whole nother, yeah.
Yes,
it's not that hard. Don't be afraid.
No, but it's a really easy way to ensure that you're setting yourself up, for money. Some schools are need blind, so they won't even pay attention to it. Some schools are need based, so they will pay attention to it. And a lot of schools will use that EFC number in order to help offset any of, the tuition cost of what they see you can pay to what. You just have to put that school's name down on the FAFSA when you're submitting it. And I believe there is a limit to how many schools you can add. Yep.
But after it's submitted, you can go back in and you can add more.
Yes, you can.
Initially. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, so that's a huge one that really helps. Your ebooks are phenomenal. I've gotten both of them. So this is it's really great reference information. You even break it down to how to put into a search bar of, when you're going into Google, make sure your information is specific, and make sure that you put this and this and this, or how you're putting the search information into Google plays a significant part. And you do a great job addressing that in the book as well. I do know that one of the questions that we were asked overall was about students, international students. And so for international students, it's going to be a college by college basis as to how they handle scholarships for international students. A lot of times the additional funding, especially in the United States specifically, requires a social security number, requires a tax identification number, some sort of US citizenship. So in that, if your student is an international student, checking in with each one of those colleges, reaching out to the college admissions office, email, reaching out to the financial aid office. Every podcast that I've listened to, every college admission officer that I've spoken to will tell you time and again, we are here for you. Send us an email. We will, right now, they might not respond within 24 hours because they're finishing reading season and notifying the current seniors of, where they are going for next year. But they will communicate with you and let you know as to what they would be able to provide for international students. But that again would be in a college by college basis. Do you have anything to add to that, or you?
Oh, sorry. No, there are scholarships out there that are open to international students. So, I mean, I do have a list I can send. People can email me. I can send them a list. It's from a trusted source. But and a lot of the strategies will be the same. They need an essay too. So if you learn how to write a really good essay, you can use the same strategies. It's just finding them is more difficult. But start with the college. That's the best thing to do, is start with college first.
Yes. And just as we said at the beginning of this, you don't have to be a senior. You don't have to wait till the spring of your senior year. And even after you graduate high school, that doesn't stop your ability to apply for scholarships. A lot of times when you're in college, there are untouched scholarships that people just don't think about because they're like, wait, I could only apply for scholarships when I first applied to college. And that's not the case either. And make sure, just as this popped into my head, make sure that when you are receiving scholarships, receiving clarification as to whether it's a 4-year scholarship or a one-time scholarship. That's really important, making sure okay, we're going to give this to you, and then make sure, is it going to renew? Is it something that you have to reapply for? If scholarships give you merit scholarships based on grades, make sure, is this something that's going to occur over 4 years? Those are really good questions to ask so you can start preparing for year 2, year 3, year 4, etc.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question.
I'm so glad you brought that up. All 3 of my boys won scholarships also while they were in college. And I have in the student guide, there are ways for current college students to find and win scholarships, but also renewable scholarships. What do I need to do to keep it? If it's a 4-year award, congratulations. But if you need to keep a 3.0 in college, you need to keep a 3.0 in college. If you dip below it, you need to know what to do to see if they can maybe give you an extra semester, give you a little bit of grace. So that's super important that you brought that up about college students and renewable scholarships. So yeah.
Yes. And if you apply for the engineering program, you may receive an engineering scholarship, but like 40% of the college freshmen, if you change your mind and you're like, engineering is not what I thought it was, I want to switch, you could lose that engineering scholarship. And
yeah,
so
unless if it's a 1 year, usually not, because you're just figuring out, you're trying to figure it out. But yeah, if it's a 4-year, definitely. So you need to look at all that.
And I do have a question. Can a student defer a scholarship if he decides to do a gap year of some sort before going to college?
Yeah, it's totally dependent on each scholarship provider. You would have to ask them. Some may. I know with COVID, it was a really big thing. Kids were waiting and people were more understanding. So you would just have to, I would still apply for the scholarships and then find out, unless you know for sure. But the thing is, you high school seniors right now are considered incoming freshmen into college for next fall. If you take a gap year, you will be an incoming freshman, but you won't be a high school senior anymore. So there's so many open to high school seniors. Now, some of I've seen it will say incoming freshmen or high school seniors that are college bound. They have the letter saying they're accepted. So it all depends, but you definitely need to look into that, find out.
Yeah, so it is really important. Again, just following up on that information, making sure that if what the fine print says, because it is really up to that company. It's really up to that person or whoever organization that's giving that scholarship information. It's really at their discretion as to how they want to give it, or, you know, how they want to handle it. Then there's not one size fits all. So it really does require a lot of searching. And I will say, you know, there are plenty of scholarships. Miss Matthews, your guide is really helpful. If you guys haven't had an opportunity, how to win scholarship, it's the number 2. howtowinscholarships.com. You can go in. She has a guidebook for students and a guidebook for parents. So that's really awesome that you've been able to separate it into those 2 focuses. Bigfuture.org also does a scholarship search where you can put in your information. It will populate lists, and the cadets have been told this information as well. But it does require, there's a documentary out there, and in that documentary, a student says, you know, there's a reason you don't receive your acceptance letter and your tuition in the same envelope. So there is a reason for that. But it does require a lot of work, and it could be anywhere from, you know, 3 to 4 hours of, you know, trying to search for scholarships, and there's no guarantee, but you have some really helpful tidbits on how to make sure that we are setting them up to, you know, be a top contender for those scholarships.
Yeah. And like I said, parents, if you're interested, I have a Facebook group. It's called Scholarship Help and College Talk for Parents. It's only for parents. And you have to be vetted. I'll look in your background. I'll try it, whatever. We don't want people selling things in there. We don't want people using it to get clients, because it is a huge problem. But it's a safe place for you to ask questions. You know, say you already have the ebooks and you're not quite sure, you want it clarified. I'll answer your question. My contact information is on my website. It's also on my Facebook page and in my group. And just message me, whatever, I'll get back to you. If anybody has any questions, email me. You know, I'm here, and that's what I do all day long. So
that's pretty awesome. And what's the name of the Facebook group again?
It's called Scholarship Help and College Talk for Parents. And then that's my group. I also have a Facebook page, like a business page, and that's just called How to Win College Scholarships.
Okay, so I put the name of that group in the chat, so if people needed to reference it, you can. And I know I follow your How to Win Scholarships on Facebook page, along with like a few others, just to keep in the know. But parents, families, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate Miss Matthews. I really am so appreciative, and I'm sure the parents are as well, as to you providing these insights and giving us some information to better help our cadets, especially since college is starting to become costly and is a really significant factor into a decision. So thank you so much for doing this. And parents, please reach out to her. And I will tell you, she is just absolutely fantastic with communication. I was listening to a podcast, and she said at the end of it, my cell phone number is on my webpage. So when you call it, you get me. And believe it or not, it is 100% true. It is her cell phone number. So she's just really wonderful to work with. If you guys have questions, please make sure you reach out to her. And yes, I will be sending out an email with the link of this recording and with the websites and the Facebook information that we've talked about, so that way you guys can have that in your email as well.
All right. Thank you for having me. This is fantastic.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yes, good luck, everybody. If you need me, I'm here for cadets A through K. I'm happy to help everyone, but you know, I work with A through K, work with everyone. Dr. Benson's L through Z. We're here to help you guys. Just send us an email, and you know, we'll get with you and we'll work with you as much as we can. So thank you all. Thank you, Miss Matthews, so much. You guys have a wonderful afternoon, have a wonderful week, and we'll see y'all, you know, sometime soon, I hope.
All right. Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. You guys do the same.